Hi, Mary.
Hello, how are you, Angela?
I'm here. I'm awake.
Good
Yeah,
morning,
me
Mary.
too.
I wish we could do this remotely as well.
So do I.
Those were the golden years of committee meetings.
COVID?
Well, in their own way, yes.
Yes. Well, there's the manager committees. I don't even know how they're doing. How are the manager committees doing?
Management committees. I haven't been watching any online. You know, my dinner hour viewing is occasionally Portola Valley committees and council meetings.
Right.
I haven't noticed.
Yeah, I haven't either.
So I do know Howard is out today and won't be joining us. He's on vacation. So keep things moving along. But I know we have a couple of announcements, things to go, and a couple of new items for our events that I'll come on to when we get to that point. But otherwise, and I don't see. We did get a report from Patrick Taylor as well, so I hope he'll be able to join, but I don't see him on yet. Try it from here as well, but I don't know how to. For somebody who works in tech, I'm actually hopeless.
No,
You need tech
the rest of us are really hopeless.
I do need tech support, yeah.
What do you need?
Well, I know Howard knows how to get into the meeting and the agenda and see things on the screen on this piece.
I don't. I haven't learned this.
No,
system.
it's learning the system. It's not really the tech support. But we'll be okay because it will show on here.
Going automatically?
No, it doesn't. I think you have to go through a web browser and log in.
Oh.
I like your artwork there, Mary.
Thank you. Do you remember those? Colored Birds by. Anyway, yes, it's a real. Let's see. Can't remember anything about it, but it's a nice one. I think it was a wedding present a million years ago.
Ah, it looks sort of Native American inspired.
It is. It's Native American. The real thing.
We're getting a sort of 480p quality picture. It's harder to tell than if it was 8K.
Oh,
there's everybody.
welcome,
right.
Jerry.
Thank you.
Hello, Jerry.
That's
Good to
for
see you.
PV Palooza.
Everybody's on. And let's call the meeting to order. Pat will join us. I see a couple of calls pulling in. We are just at time plus 1 minute, so. First of May. So they will have in Oxford this morning. Would have seen the choristers singing at the top of Magdalen Tower and people attempting to jump into the river at 6 in the morning as they ring the bells.
Is that right?
Oh my gosh. Why?
It's a tradition for May morning. I don't know. And there was
Oh, the 1st of May.
1st of May and possibly.
Yeah, we need a maypole in Portola Valley.
Possibly
Maypole dancing.
Possibly fueled by
Yes.
some evening revelry the night before. So yes.
Oh, great.
It'd be great to have a maypole in the middle of the green outside the
Yeah.
library.
Oh, we'll just wait for Pat. Good morning, Pat.
Yeah. Hey,
Wouldn't that be wonderful?
full house.
We think we should have music.
Full committee. Good morning, Pat.
I want your seat a little bit.
Yeah, you have the last one.
Don't worry. We've time and we've got a fairly easy agenda today. The other thing I think we should have maybe on the side of Windy Hill is a white horse carving. Which is
Definitely.
Oh, yeah, like the hills, absolutely. That
Definitely.
would take some of the coyote bush.
Or sheep. You know, there are a load of sheep by the side of 280 off Arastradero Road.
Hmm. Okay. I
And
think
we don't have any native white rocks.
we're ready
That's the problem.
to, if we're ready to begin, I'd like to call the meeting to order. I am Ed Holland, I'm chair.
Kevin Welch.
Angela, hey.
Pat Bain and
Caroline Bertong.
Thank you, everybody. Our next item is oral communications for items that are not on the agenda. So I think we have a couple of things, particularly Jerry, if you'd like to lead off, and I have another announcement as well.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for admitting me to come to the meeting this morning. As you know, June 1st is going to be our third Portola Valley Palooza, and it's no longer part of the Cultural Arts Committee. We are our own foundation now, a 501c3, and that was done in order to alleviate a lot of work and pressure on the Portola Valley town staff. And the reason I wanted to visit you this morning is we thought it would be wonderful if some of you were interested in helping directing traffic in front of the old schoolhouse and in the church parking lot and entrances, and perhaps even along Portola Road, to ensure that people are not going to be parking where they shouldn't be parking, and maybe give directions. Of course, your committee is safety, and you do this for Zots to Tots and other events, so you're trained to know what to do. So I'm just here to ask for volunteers. I have one already. His name is Kevin Welch, and he's been to Palooza before. So you could always ask him questions as well as contact me. So if you have any questions, please let me know. The Palooza is going to run from 9 in the morning until 11 in the morning. We're going to be there at 9 until 9 p.m. But it's very simple now. You can just go onto pvpalooza.net and then go to the volunteer tab. And you can sign up for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, there's time slots. But I'm sure midday is going to be probably when we'll need people directing others. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry. Thanks for bringing that to our attention. I'm sure we can make a call for volunteers also on the forum. And another connection I have through EPC and the amateur radio group is connections with the CERT team, Community Emergency Response. And although this doesn't constitute an emergency, they are always keen to have field activities and continue their training and get practice in the field. So I'll approach Robert Seidel, who's my contact on the CERT team, and see if they're able to be involved in the PV Palooza as well, because they were excellent at Zots to Tots last year as part of our marshalling team.
One of the things I like to do since, Sergeant Taylor's on board here on Zoom, and I don't know if they've been notified or not about the Palooza, Jerry.
I know we have it coming up. I just wanted to say if Ms. Wealth wants my contact information, you guys could give it to her, I can give it to her, and so we can coordinate some assistance from the sheriff's office for the Palooza event. I know we do it, we helped out a little bit every year, so I'd have to make sure that's out there for them.
Thank you very much.
We could use some flags for directing the traffic.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
I'm happy to share.
Thank you, Patrick, and thank you, Jerry. So I've got a couple of other event announcements that I'll bring up later on down the agenda, but actually one of them I will mention now because it's coming up, and that is the Portola Valley Schools District graduation car parades, which fall on June 14th. There's one mid-afternoon for the Ormondale students and one later on after school for the Corte Madera students. I'm in touch with the coordinator. I've already had an approach with the CERT team for them to be involved in helping to marshal that as well. So I'll keep my ear to the ground and let you all know at our subsequent meetings how that is progressing, but it seems like we're well organized to help those events run safely too. I know the organizer for the team is already in touch with the fire department because the fire engines lead the parade around. So hopefully all those connections are good. Patrick, are you aware of that date as well?
That was the 14th.
June 14th for the Portola Valley Schools car parade. It's an informal event, but it's very much a.
Well, that
will
was
get
not
to
on
I
it.
the
think it's when the school comes out at lunch. Is it, or does it come out at 3?
Yeah, it's the last day of school, essentially.
Yes. I mean, I see it every year because it's very noisy. But I don't know, I wouldn't know how to help people because, they're driving.
I think it's a case of just, we have people line the route, just monitoring just in case that anybody needs to call in or wave your flags, join in. The CERT team can probably possibly very likely help and are willing and keen to be involved in it. So it's an excellent.
Was that May 14th or June 14th?
June 14th.
I'll notify the community policing unit with our SROs, and we'll see if we can get some other people out there too for that.
Thank you. Yeah, you can get in touch with me directly on that if you want. My contact with the event itself has promised that she'll have more information once she's finished with the school play productions. So that'll be the middle of this month. All right. Thank you, everybody. Get back to our regular agenda. It brings us to approval of the minutes for our April meeting. Does anyone have comments on the minutes before we move those for a vote on approval? Caroline, go ahead, please.
It's not necessarily about the minutes, but it's, we saw that the police reports were not attached, even though we sent them to the town.
Yes, I believe I forwarded those when Patrick sent them ahead of last month's meeting, so they should have had them. I will send a reminder so they get on subsequent packets and added to our webpage. Thank you, Caroline.
I propose we accept the minutes of the last meeting.
Second that.
Second.
Take a show of hands to approve the minutes. Unanimous, thank you. Next item is a report from the Sheriff's Office. So Patrick, go ahead, please.
Good morning, everybody. Just go through the information real quick. We had 0 collisions in March this year, which is in accordance with last year. We had no collisions reported to the Sheriff's Office for that duration. Moving citations. So these are ones that we actually wrote, tickets for people that were doing moving violations. We had 11 citations there. None of them were bicycle related. This current month that we just ended in April is our driver distracted awareness month. So we'll see how that turned out not this meeting, but the next one. But this one's 11 right now, and you can see a number of areas we're targeting, probably Alpine and Westridge in that area, that corridor. And if you guys have certain areas during the meetings or during your discussions that you think you want us to cover, let me know, and I can ask the officers out there, the deputies out there to cover those areas. So.
Can we have more citations for speeding? Because speed is a big problem on Alpine Road, and these are nearly all the parking citations and other things to do with, people not having things on their cars.
So yeah, some of these are, so there's a parking citation email that has the number of parking citations in there. For the moving citations, sometimes what happens is the deputy will stop somebody for speeding, and then maybe there's multiple violations, and they use discretion and decide to cite them for a different one. But I will discuss with them if they stop someone for speeding to cite them for speeding, because that impacts their, that shows them that the speeding is not going to be tolerated in that area. So I'll ask them to do that for you instead of giving them a different citation for, say, expired registration or something. And then as of the annual stats so far, we have no accidents in Portola Valley so far this year. We have 30 total citations as of right now, 60 parking citations and 90 total citations together.
Another question, all those citations came on 8 days out of a month with 31 days. So really, you're only working a quarter of the time on citations. What happened on those other days?
Which citations are you referring to?
All the parking citations, the March citations took place over 8 days.
Have you been able to reach the hospital?
Which doesn't seem, I mean, it doesn't seem like a full week, a full month's work.
Well, like I said in the last meeting we had and discussions that we've had in emails, the community service officer who writes the parking citations, they're not assigned directly to Portola Valley. Just like it says in the contractor charter with this town, you have services of a community service officer. We have one community service officer per shift assigned to headquarters patrol, and they patrol Redwood City, Portola Valley, they do Woodside, they do all the different bureaus within headquarters patrol. So they'll go out there and target that area for a number of times. And maybe that's all the citations that they observed during those times. They may have been out there for other reasons on different dates, but these are the citations that they chose to write for that reason.
Thank you, Patrick. Anything further from committee? Caroline?
I just wanted a clarification. Do we still have an office here? We used to have a police station behind.
Yes, we still have a
the tennis
substation there.
courts.
We still have a substation there.
Oh, thank you.
I have one more question
Yep,
for
Kevin. Go
Sergeant
ahead.
Taylor. I noticed that we have the shoulder lanes, which are 5 feet. But we have a lot of bicyclists shoulder to shoulder, which means they're basically intruding into the flow lane, which means that the motorist going down Alpine or Woodside Road is forced over the double line. Can we do something about that so that we can be, in a friendly way, notify some of the bicyclists that they should be more aware of what's behind them?
We actually do a meeting with what's called the BPAC. I'm sure you guys might be familiar with that. But with the BPAC meetings we do discuss with the different bicycle groups that in the Bay Area that there's, it does impede, but there's no real lane sharing law in California that says they can't do that. So it does impede. And then now we have a new rule in effect, which is the 3-foot rule violation in California. So if you're within 3 feet of a bicycle, you can get cited for it. That has caused us some issues too, because the bicyclists are saying now that they're violating this law. So it's a really difficult and like real nuanced area that we haven't really, we're kind of figuring out right now. But you cannot cite 2 people for riding side by side in the lane, if that makes any sense. There's a lane share, there's no lane sharing law in California that addresses that.
On the one citation that you had where the driver had gone over the yellow line, do you know any more details about that situation?
You're crossing double yellow lines? No, that's all.
Were they crossing the double yellow line in order to avoid cyclists? Was there something in the shoulder lane that they needed to go over the double yellow line in order to be safe? I'm just wondering what that situation was.
Well, and the hard thing about that is even with in 21460A, which is the code, the vehicle code for it, it doesn't allow you to cross the double yellow line for any need. Like you cannot cross the double yellow line because then you are now impeding into another lane of traffic. And the double yellow lines are put in those areas based on certain criteria from Caltrans that says this area cannot have a passing lane. So
Yeah,
you
I
can't cross the
understand.
double yellow.
I think we've had this discussion once before, but the way that it works on Alpine Road is that this last cycle, the shoulder was widened by a foot, making the driver's lanes on both sides a foot narrower.
Mhm.
So in order to include that 3-foot law, as far as being able to get around the cyclist, it is not unusual at all for the driver to need to go into the other lane in order to incorporate the 3 feet. So it seems as though legally what should happen is that the drivers slow down and wait for a situation where they can safely pass the bicyclists and stay in that same lane, which in many situations is not going to happen. So the driver is really forced to go into that other lane.
I completely understand your argument.
I'm just asking what is the optimum situation? What would you like the driver to do?
There is no, so this is one of the issues we have, like
Yeah,
like perfect example is like Kings Mountain Road and Woodside. One second. A perfect example is Kings Mountain Road and Woodside. It's a narrow road. Bicyclists go up the road all the time. To even go up the road in your lane, you're going to be within 3 feet of the you're going to be a 3 foot violation. But the bicyclists don't always travel at the speed of traffic or at the posted speed limit. So they are then impeding traffic themselves by not driving at a certain rate, at a safe speed, which then causes cars to line up behind them. Then there's a certain amount of cars that line up behind them. You have to stop your vehicle and move over so the cars can pass you. This is the issues that have been coming up after they enacted the 3 foot rule violation that we've been having to deal with. So it's a very difficult, and it's a very like I said, it's a very nuanced issue we have to deal with. So we're trying to figure that out right now. All agencies across the state are trying to deal with this right now with this 3 foot rule violation. My only thing I can really tell you is that with the 21460A, the WO lines, in no instance other than like an emergency are you allowed to cross that double yellow.
Okay, so yeah, I guess that there are things that need to be figured out in this situation because right now it's not really realistic.
Two
And
things
it's
are not
not-
compatible, yeah.
I will say this, the deputies that work out there, if someone's crossing the double yellow to go around the bicyclist, as long as, and I'm not saying this is what they're going to do, I'm just saying this is what they can do. Officers can use discretion under the law to cite somebody. So if it's a clear lane and they go around the bicyclist, they may or may not cite the person for crossing double yellows. So in my experience with talking to the different deputies out there in the motor units in Woodside, they typically don't cite for that double yellow violation if it's just passing bicyclists and it's done in a safe manner. But that's not saying that that's okay for them to do that. They're just saying, I'm gonna use discretion and say, I'm not gonna cite you for this because I know you're just.
Well, and that's what makes sense as far as the solution. You know, having the driver show common sense when they can go around the cyclist safely.
Yeah, so
But that needs to be put in a situation where the driver's not risking getting a ticket.
Yeah, and yeah, sorry, go ahead, Edward.
I was going to say, for example, you'd show a different view of that situation if there was oncoming traffic from any other lane.
Yes,
Something like that. I mean, I'm just picking examples. This isn't obviously.
yeah, and if you guys want, I can send these up. I mean, I think I said this before, we created these pamphlets that are bicycle safety pamphlets. I can see them. But I can send a whole bunch.
That would be,
Not practical.
Yes, please.
we
So
would
we'll send
like
a
some
bunch
of
them
those.
down to you.
Yeah, we've got some events coming up and we're trying to recruit. So it would be good to have some literature for people to look at. That would be super.
Yep.
Yeah,
Thank you,
discuss a
Patrick.
lot of the new laws in place. So, well, I'll send maybe like 30 or 40 of
Thank you
those
very
down.
much.
Okay, the other thing I have possibly for you, Patrick, and I'll bring on to discussing a little bit further down on our events, but there has been a date now announced for our Zots to Tots race,
The 21st,
21st of October.
September.
I beg your pardon, September, that is correct.
Right.
So
We have, what's the date again? I think I have it already on my calendar.
September 21st.
Let me just double check. I think it's in the calendar already. So
And,
either way, we'll be there to help out. Either way,
What,
we already started planning, so.
I know we've got time to talk about this and I don't want to make a big deal about it. But last year I was at the corner of Westridge and it was a nightmare. And the main reason it was a nightmare was the officer that was there, because she wasn't paying attention to the bikes. And it was really dangerous. And I just want to make sure that this next time when we go through quarters and what to be looking for, that we're all on the same page.
Yep, organizing the team and.
Yeah,
have the
because it was
progress.
a disaster last year, really dangerous.
Yep, we'll maybe think about organizing some coordination
And
meetings.
maybe
to-
beforehand going over it with the teams
Yep.
and something so that we're a little bit more coordinated.
Thank you. If anybody wants to put down their notes for specific items on that, so that we catch them this time, that would be appreciated.
Yeah,
So thank
yeah,
you.
I would like to
Um,
drive that.
And
effort.
I'm also again in touch with the CERT team and the emergency preparedness guys who also want to help coordination. So I think we are well placed to have a well-organized event again in the same way that we did last year. So thank you, Patrick. I think if there's nothing else for Patrick, we'll say thank you very much. Oh, I
Thank
beg
you,
your
Chief.
pardon, Mary, go ahead.
Yeah, mute.
Unmute.
So you're still muted, Mary.
There, okay. Patrick, thank you so much. My question was, as far as the house, the office there behind the soccer field, how are we doing with getting it to be a friendlier face and getting a facelift for you guys and having it be a more welcoming space for the sheriff's office?
All the feedback
Any-
I have is positive for the area, so I haven't had any negatives. And I don't know of anything that they recommended or brought to my.
I think they, at least from what I've been told from the manager, we've committed to making that into a more comfortable space for you and a place that the public actually would be more aware of the sheriff's presence in our town.
Yeah, the deputies haven't said anything to me about anything that needed to be upgraded for them specifically, but they appreciate things done for them.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
So, Caroline, I have a question from you.
I do have a comment following Mary's question or observation. I did send a couple comments to Sergeant Taylor, and I'm hoping that we will get response. And I really want to bring this up. We have not discussed the contract, and I hope that the town council will discuss it with the town manager, because in the past, we would go there and nothing would be done. They always had an excuse that they didn't have purview. So it is important that we know exactly what purview the sheriff's office here for Portola Valley has, and when we can go to them and when they're going to help us. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline. Yes, I think if there's nothing further, well, we can move on. Thank you very much, Patrick. I look forward to seeing you next time. One request I do have is if you could submit the reports a week plus 1 day ahead,
Okay.
so that I can make sure they get into the agenda packet, because I have to submit that information by the Wednesday before the
Okay.
meeting. So that will be very helpful. Thank you.
No worries, it'll happen.
Can I say a comment?
Go ahead, Christy.
So I think what Mary was asking, is the room upgraded yet for the sheriff? Because the last couple meetings, we've been told that it would be upgraded. So it's really important to report back to the residents that that room has been upgraded, because it was kind of not up to par. And if that location is not good, there could be other locations in the town that might be better. In fact, I have a cottage that might be even better next to Ramey's garage. So I'm
Well,
serious. If that's a better location, I'd love to have the sheriff around. Okay, so then my next question, I mean, has it been, do we have a better desk? Do we have a?
I'll discuss with the deputies. I go to briefings every day with them, so I'll discuss with them and see what they have, and I'll confirm that everything's been, all the work's been done, but I know they were doing work out there at one point. I heard about that, so. And usually if something is, bothering them, they'll let us know, right? And so I haven't heard anything from them, so.
Well, I think we were actually wanting to do it, to make sure that your presence was here versus Redwood City.
And
So-
visible, yeah.
Yeah, we want you here. And then I am noticing flock at the end of Alpine Road, and I'm wondering if it's temporary and if it's at all of our entrances to town, not just one end. So can you give me feedback on that? It's in the unincorporated area island.
That's the situation for the town to discuss in the flocks. I know we do have flock installation in that area. So I know it's increasing in capacity right now, which is nice. So definitely a benefit for us.
Yeah, I love that. It's in the unincorporated area, so we don't get feedback.
Yeah, I don't believe that is Portola Valley flock. That was probably likely a Menlo Park or Ladera
We do-
or some other
Ladera has cameras up in that area also, so it could be a camera. And if it's Ladera's cameras, then they have their installation, and we actually have a meeting with them. We're doing an evening meeting with. Let me check my date.
Yeah, I've been trying to get you to have a flock presentation to the town council so we can follow up and at least know our costs going forward for a budget. And I've been unsuccessful getting it on the agenda. And alls we want is just, give us the numbers and we can plan.
All right, thank you, Christy. I think that's more of a matter for council and those things to debate. But, thank you. Great. Patrick, thank you very much. I would at this point normally move on to Howard and our public works update, but Howard informs me he's on vacation this month. For this meeting anyway. So he doesn't have any items passed on to me. I don't know if he's been in touch with any other members of the committee.
No, but I was just going to say about crosswalks. I've got some crosswalk flags that I intend to install by the school crosswalks and possibly down by Alpine Hills.
Thank you, Angela.
Well, what do you mean possibly? Are we going to get the flags over by Alpine Hills Swim and Tennis?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay, if that concludes item 5, or passed over item 5, onto our ongoing committee business. Item A, I received a request from Patty Dews, who has undertaken rewriting of the committee's handbook and is looking for volunteers to help with that activity, proofreading and all the other things to support that. I've volunteered to help as much as I can, but if any other member of the BPTS is willing to help in any way with that activity, would be appreciated. So let me know or contact Patty directly. I don't have any more information on that at this time.
So you don't know the timeline?
I do not. I may know the timeline. I'll have to refer to an email that Patty sent, but I don't remember. Pat,
I'll do the
you'll do the graphics?
graphics.
Wonderful, thank you. Item B on our ongoing business is the adoption of the 2019 pedestrian safety study as a local roadway safety plan and adapting it to fit the needs of CCAG requirements. I know we set up a subcommittee for that activity and look for a report from you on progress.
Yeah, we haven't got together. We did just mention that we're going to go through some of the other town plans and see what we're missing, but we haven't done it, but we'll have it done by next month.
Thank you. I know I've been aware of communication between Howard and the CCAG team that there is some change and shifting and moving around in the timelines for their requirements. So it looks like this is a lot more flexible than we were led to believe at the beginning.
It is. And when I've been looking at grants from other towns, in fact, when people are going through the grants and assessing them, towns put in things like, we don't have a BPAT committee, but the town council is the BPAT committee. And so to get rid of things where they haven't got one of the items on a grant, they usually put down a sentence about
So
something.
there are
else.
workarounds for, thank you. I look forward to that next month as you're able to.
There is another grant cycle out, and I think the deadline's May, and I wondered if we should just submit something about redoing the bike path because of the willows and because of the Stamford developments, making it like a class 1 bike lane, apply for a grant to do that. I wondered if we should just do that.
Interesting idea.
I would
No,
discuss
but
that
the deadline is
before.
May, we just have to write it down.
Yeah, but we have to watch out for limitations compared to Portela Valley's expectations.
Yeah, I know. The question is, should we apply for anything? But I think that
I think your opinion is treat it like a lucky dip and see if anything comes up.
exactly.
Yeah. I think let's discuss that with Howard in the background, because it does need some town support to write those grants. And I know that makes work for a team which yeah, we know our stress. Okay, item 6.
I have a comment on that.
Oh, go ahead, Christy. I can't always see your hand. It's displays
Okay.
here are a little confusing.
Okay, I am concerned about the pedestrian and us applying for grants whenever we can. And I can't understand why we wouldn't do that when we are in a deficit of $1.5 million in our town, that we wouldn't apply for a grant to keep our pedestrians safe. I know, I don't know what you have to do to talk to Howard, but it seems to me we could use some money for bike and pedestrian safety in a class 1 area for people to bike or walk in. I am concerned about a left turn lane where Hawthorne's driveway is, and a left turn pocket lane coming from the east to the west. And I think that should be given to San Mateo County, the ideas ahead of time, rather than, whoops, there's the driveway and now we have a problem. I think we need to plan ahead on this rather than in the rears. So how can that be done from both directions during school traffic? I live on Alpine Road, so I know all the times. And, a pickup at 3 and driving people there at 8. And that's when hikers go out too. So, and I want to be planning ahead, that's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you for your comment.
I'd like to see my comments in the minutes, almost exact. Thank you.
I would like to respond to that. Christy, I think the comments are in the minutes.
Okay, great, thanks.
Item 6C is the placeholder for updates on the Hawthorne's Public Access Working Group. I know of some members of that group here, and then any requests for input back to them. I believe their last meeting will fall June or July.
Yeah, there wasn't really much activity this last month as far as any changes. I know that we have to be diligent as far as what's developing right now, because I just think we need to read all the details that they send out, because there's stuff hidden deep down in places where, finding that speed bump stuff. That was on option 8. So read the whole documents when they come through and comment accordingly. But this last month, we had nothing.
Yeah, so the point in the cycle we're at is that the Public Access Working Group will report back to MidPen. MidPen will formulate their planning application, and then that will come to the town. So this is a long cycle. It's by no means done, but it is worth keeping our eye on the ball.
I have
I
a
do-
comment.
Caroline first and then Christy.
I do have a concern, and Chair Holland will understand. Remember how last meeting we expressed our concerns with the representative of the ASEC, and we had afterwards, we had some communication with the town, with Adrian Smith, the planner, but I feel there should be a follow-up because we expressed over and over again that BPTS was supposed to be involved with every driveway, every project that comes to the planning department, and there is a change for the driveway, it has to come to BPTS. That has not been done for so many years. There's other issues that the planning department is not following through, and I would hope that the chair can communicate this with them because there's no consistency. And especially if we have the Hawthorne project.
I definitely think that would come under our purview at the stage where that is a planning application, but it's not at that stage yet. The formal application has not been placed to the town.
But like many members have said, or even residents and other committee members, we have to be proactive. And I think we made that clear, but sometimes then there's a couple months where nothing happens and it seems to be forgotten. So I would suggest to repeat it every time Hawthorns is brought up.
Okay, thank you. Christy, one comment quickly, please.
Yes, I'm wondering if the parking proposal for Hawthorns is being brought to the Natural Resources Committee. I've been trying to find out when they meet because it's not on the Public Access Working Group area when I go in to look at that. But we want to follow the parking as to its approval process in MROSD.
Yeah.
So
I
I think the public would like to go to that meeting as well, and I'd like to see it listed better in the MORSD site, so the public knows that it's going there. Can you inform me when that meeting is?
I'm not aware of it. This seems like a question more directed for the Hawthorne's ad hoc committee.
Yeah. Yeah, so there hasn't been another meeting posted yet, but there probably is one on the calendar.
Well, I think it has to be accepted by Natural Resources and then it's kind of a done deal and then it
You know,
goes
the
to
thing,
board.
if you review the paperwork that's in there now and the natural resources study that they use when they overview impact on each of the different proposals that they're looking at now, and we're now on option number 8. Each one has a 4-scale identifier as far as impact on the environment, impact on the natural resources that are there. They do a very, very good, thorough study. If you go through that paperwork, and that's been posted online. But the thing that I find to be most interesting there is that they're very good with the impact on the park itself, but there is no interest on the impact on the community. So that line, the property line between Hawthorne and Portola Valley, all of their studies are on the inside, not dealing with the community and their impact.
Yeah,
And I
that-
am an environmentalist, but I also find that element to be missing. So,
That's still the environment.
yeah, and that's where we come in. We're the
That's where the
social-
roads come in too.
Well, exactly.
This committee, so.
Well,
yeah.
exactly. So, as far as the environmental impact, they're doing a really fabulous job. It's really impressive. I just think they're falling short as far as we're concerned. Portola Valley. And so that's, you're doing a great job staying on top of this.
Okay.
How do
thank
we
you, everybody.
improve that process? If you are BPTS and you feel this, how do we improve?
Go to the meetings, you go to the meetings, you put in your word there, you sit, they have those meetings every other month. They start at 6, they could run to 9, they're very formal. You put in
Yeah.
your comments there, you speak. It's like
But does
it's a
our,
s-
our manager of our town need to get involved to say, can you consider us in your decision-making as well? Because we have a community of 1,800 homes and 4,500 people. And we'd like you to look at the interests of the community in your decision-making.
wow.
One thing you might want to do is go to the mid-pen meetings.
Yeah, just go to those
They've
meetings.
got an action plan meeting on May the 7th at 1 PM, and they've got a board of directors meeting on May the 8th at 5:30 PM at their offices. So you may want to go.
Yeah.
Okay, I shall leave this item on our agenda as a rolling,
Sure.
a rolling item, so that we can keep on top of this, look at meetings coming up and look at ways that our input can be.
I think we're doing a pretty good job at this point. We're right front and center as far as, being involved and making, they know we're here.
We've
There's no-
tried hard, we've stood in the rain, we've done.
I mean, we're doing our part.
We
It's
have a
not as though
liaison
we're sit-
also. Karen's a liaison. for
Yeah,
our
we've got a
committee, so
lot
She's
of
been here a
people.
couple of times already.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're not gathering dust as far as this activity is concerned.
No, I don't believe so.
No.
Right, move on to, we have 2 other placeholders here. Item D is our modification to Windy Hill parking restrictions. That's really a public works item at this point for modifying our signage layout along Portola Road. That's for Howard to give us an update on when that work is planned. And lastly, on ongoing committee business would be a placeholder for Alpine Inn and Golden Oak parking concerns. Nothing more has come to me formally from either residents or from the town.
No, but it will be important to work together with the Parks and Rec.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yesterday I went by Rastradero and there was a sign in front of Alpine Inn saying no parking on the Rastradero Road.
Really?
Yeah, I was
Interesting.
really surprised that nobody was parked there. It was a sandwich board
On the
that was put up by
Alpine
Alpine
Inn,
Inn.
Similar to what they do on,
I don't think it was legal, but there wasn't anybody parked there. It worked, whatever, it worked.
Well, I can tell you at the weekend, it was going back beyond the lock pile.
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah, oh,
crazy.
yeah.
it's a big problem.
They're shuttling people back and forth from Ford Field.
We're fighting a county line at that point though, so that's difficult.
I just wanted to comment that there is still an issue with that emergency exit and we get,
Let me go through that, Carolyn. I've looked at that continuously. And we removed the boulders, they're gone. And we do have an exit area, even though it's not designated, but they know about it. The management at Alpine Inn knows about the exit strategy to get out of there fast if they have to.
great.
Is that kept clear in the course of normal park, when they arrange parking, do they keep that exit clear?
They do.
Good,
They keep
okay.
that exit towards the west
Mhm.
clear, where the boulders used to be.
But that's why it's important to work with the Parks and Rec because they have submitted to have 30 parking spots for the soccer teams. And that has not been established. So right now it's Alpine Inn who's using it, which is, I mean, I don't mind, but it would be nice that we have a shared.
I think the point is, who's going to enforce that?
Yep, it's difficult.
Well, the town can, it's town land and it's for our sports field.
Absolutely. Well, that's why, and this remains on the agenda. I can modify that specifically to look at the parking access, but it's use of the parking facility does really come under the Parks and Rec consideration, but we can support them.
Maybe the point is, maybe we should rope off an area. I mean, what's your suggestion, Carolyn? Maybe we have to have cones out there and say these 20 parking spots belong to the town and people have the right to use that soccer field.
That's a suggestion, but I would like to coordinate this with Parks and Rec. Because they have already submitted that. I don't know where they stand. They didn't have an update at the last meeting, so.
I think the rope is a good suggestion and a good start.
All right. We are running towards the end of our allotted time here, so let's keep moving. Thank you. Item 7 is our upcoming events. I believe I've already mentioned Zots to Tots, 21st September. And the arrangements were already beginning to get in place to organize that. Looks like we have police department on board. CERT team are poised to help us again with that and the emergency preparedness for radio and other communications coordination, which should make for a good event. As we get closer to that date, we'll organize some more planning meetings specifically for it.
In a booth, we're gonna do our booth.
And the booth, yes, we should certainly.
Yeah.
Because that will be town picnic as well, so.
Yeah, we're gonna recruit some more people.
That would be great. We have June 1st for PV Palooza. Jerry
Yeah,
presented to us and.
I
we
might want
need
to say something.
coordinate
I
on
think
that.
it's going to be pretty big this year. And I have a funny feeling they're promoting it because like you say, they've changed the whole format now. And they're become their own like foundation rather than
Mhm.
being supported by the town. So they're going to bring in a lot of different people. I think they have 20 bands. Imagine 20 bands.
Not
with
gonna
all
be
the
enough parking.
rodeos you
So what-
have, all the
what-
parents.
Do we
all
know
the-
the allocations for parking for that?
No,
Yeah,
there's not gonna
because there'll be
be.
some spaces that, within.
Might want to incorporate some kind of shuttle service. There's not gonna be enough parking with all those bands. Where are the people gonna park?
Well, there's Christchurch.
Where?
Christchurch. and
That's not that big. I mean, they fill those two spaces up on a Thursday night
have
in
to
the
go to
summer, and they have
Presbyterian
one
church.
band. This is
Hmm.
12
Oh,
bands.
yeah, it's a long day.
It's a long day, so people, we're gonna have to have some sense of parking spaces where they're open. It's gonna be more than just, it's gonna be complicated.
Encourage people to bike and walk. what they can
That's
do.
what, yes, and maybe people ride their horses.
Ballet.
Yeah.
Do we want to do a bike ballet?
Would that be beautiful? I'd love that.
We
should
don't have
a
the safe
horse-drawn
parking.
shuttle system.
Right.
What about that, Mary?
No parking.
I love it.
I suggest, that's a good one, Ed. I like that one.
All right.
Maybe a horse and a buggy.
Horse and carriage, buggies, yeah.
Yes, wouldn't that be charming? People would love that.
So that falls on June 1st, and then June 14th, we have the schools car parade.
Right.
June the
Okay.
2nd, Western Wheelers have their Sequoia ride coming through. And so there will be a rest stop at the Christchurch parking just along Portola Road there.
Oh, that's good to know.
On June the 2nd, it's
Okay.
a Sunday, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Glad they're doing that again.
We're not doing anything for Bike to Work Day.
No, we aren't because it's kind of so. We're doing the booth at the.
Okay, moving on, I think we don't have any matters arising beyond what we've discussed already. Anybody have anything further for the committee before I move to adjourn?
No, we can
Good,
adjourn.
okay.
Thank
Adjourn.
you. In which case I declare the meeting adjourned, and our next regularly scheduled meeting will be on 5th of June.
Okay, I'll second the adjournment.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mary.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to do my report now. But I'm remarkably ready. Well, we can do that on our trip.